This is the Crisscross Show. I'm back. Today I have a new set of NBA rankings as of March 19th, 2021. I will give you my NBA awards and as well as I will let you know what I have for my NCAA bracket. Anyways, enjoy. All right, so let's get the top 10 NBA teams started. So there is one team that was bounced out of the top 10 as I think the last time I did the rankings was March 5th, right before the All-Star break. So the team that was bounced out of the top 10 was the Boston Celtics. They have lost 2 in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. Again, they are hit or miss this year. So they are out of the top 10. Anyways, getting into the top 10. So again, this is the top 10 teams that I think are the 10 best teams in the league right now. That if the playoffs were to start today, these will be the top 10 teams. All right, number 10, the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are 24-16 right now. They have won 2 in a row, but I am going to knock them because they are 11-8 at home and they are known to be a good home team, but they've struggled at home. And also they are a 13-8 road team. They're better on the road than they are at home this year, which is odd. They usually have the home court advantage because they're the Mile High City, the elevation. It gets teams on like a Wednesday night. So the Denver Nuggets will be number 10 this week. Number 9, the Portland Trail Blazers. The Portland Trail Blazers have the same record as the Denver Nuggets, which is 24-16. The thing with the Portland Trail Blazers is I don't think they can win against really great teams like the Lakers or the Jazz or the Clippers. I don't think they have the firepower to last against them. They are 11-9 on the road, so they're a relatively bad road team, just above 500 road team. They have won 2 in a row. They did get CJ McCollum back, which is great news for them. But again, they're the 9th best team because Damian Lillard can only take them so far. Number 8, the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are the new team in the top 10 this week. They are in the top 10 because they are 8-2 in their last 10 games. Their record is currently 22-19, but the band is back together. The Miami Heat struggled a lot with injuries and COVID-19 issues. Jimmy Butler was out for like 10 games. Bam was out for a couple games. Goran Dragic was out. They had a bunch of injuries and other stuff that had their team kind of broken apart. Now they're kind of back together. They were 18-18 before the break, and they're 22-19, so they've only lost 1 game. They're 4-1 in their last 5 games. So the Miami Heat will jump to number 8 in my rankings. Number 7, the Milwaukee Bucks. They just traded for PJ Tucker, which is a great addition, a good corner 3-point specialist for them, as well as a known defender. So he can hold his own for Milwaukee. Milwaukee has won 5 in a row. They did beat Philadelphia, I think, on Wednesday, which is a good game, a good overtime win, especially against a Philadelphia team who has the best record, and Milwaukee's trying to catch up to them. Milwaukee is 15-5 at home, so they are a great home team. And yeah, they're just winning right now. They're 5 in a row, so great wins for Milwaukee, and I think Milwaukee will go up into the rankings and definitely stay in the top 3 position right behind Philadelphia and Brooklyn. So Milwaukee will be number 7. Number 6 is going to go to the LA Clippers. The LA Clippers are a weird team because last year everyone said that they were going to win a championship. They had that mindset. They fall apart in the playoffs. And this year, Paul George comes back and he says, I'm going to be great. But then he's hit or miss. He's been hit or miss these past couple of years. There are 4-6 in their last 10 games. They did lose to Dallas off a back-to-back against Dallas. They are 13-10 on the road, so they're barely above 500 on the road. So that means that they don't travel well. Again, the Clippers, one week they look like the best team in the league. The next week they look like a team that can lose in the first round easily. So the LA Clippers will be number 6. Anyways, the top 5 teams will be announced in just a couple of seconds. All right, the top 5 teams, the top 5 NBA teams in the league as of right now. Number 5, the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz are 5-5 in their last 10 games. They are 13-9 on the road, so they don't travel well. I know they're currently in an East Coast road trip, which isn't going well for them. But they are 16-2 at home, so they're a great home team. They can defend home court, but when they're on the road, they're a little streaky. The league is catching up to Utah. The league is saying, hey, Utah thinks they're great. And they're talking all this stuff, that how great they are and how much they want this respect. So let's show them that. So Utah's getting the best out of a lot of teams. And I think this is the beauty of doing a first half and a second half, because it really lets teams see, okay, they have the best record. They're doing this right now. Let's go at them when we see them. So Utah's going to see a lot of teams giving them their best shot because they have the best record in the league right now. So the Utah Jazz have fallen down a cliff a little bit. They've gone back down to reality, 5-5 in their last 10 games. I think it's only going to get worse for Utah. Number 4, the LA Lakers. They have won 4 in a row. They are 4-0 after the All-Star break. They have the number 2 defense in the league, at least defensive rating. I know a lot of people say 1 and 2. They're switching between them and the New York Knicks. They are 28-13, which is the second best record in the league, tied with, I think, Brooklyn, Philadelphia as well. They're doing great without Anthony Davis. They've had a couple of COVID protocols with Dennis Schroeder, Marc Gasol. They got Damian Jones. Who knows what they're going to do at the trade deadline, at the buyout deadline. So I'm not exactly too sure. But right now, the Lakers are the 4th best team in the league. Number 3, the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are 26-13. They are, I think, 4th or 3rd in the West. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games. They do have the number 4 defense. And again, I think a lot of that has to do with Chris Paul, who is probably never going to get any MVP votes. But Chris Paul has really changed that program, as well as Monty Williams has also changed that program. The Phoenix Suns are a great team. I think they can beat anyone on any given night, but they can also lose on any given night. That's a little bit of the streakiness of the Phoenix Suns. Last night, they just lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves, so that's why they did not crack the top 2. But the Phoenix Suns are playing great basketball. I think they're going to be competing for the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference. And I do believe that they will make it to the Western Conference semifinals, or even the Western Conference finals, depending on who they face in the second round. But the Phoenix Suns are number 3. Number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers. They did lose to Milwaukee on Wednesday night, an overtime loss. Again, no Joel Embiid for at least 2 to 3 weeks he's out with a knee injury. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they do have the number 3 defense. Number 3 offense in the league. They do make a lot of threes. Ben Simmons is a great facilitator, and Philadelphia is just a great team, even without Joel Embiid. But they need Joel Embiid to overcome the Brooklyn Nets. Which brings me to number 1, the Brooklyn Nets. They are 9-1, and this is without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has not played in a month. They've won 6 in a row, 9-1 in their last 10 games. They have the number 1 offense in the league with only James Harden and Kyrie Irving. And again, Kyrie Irving sits out every now and then. James Harden, again, we know that James Harden can carry a team, especially a team of just good players around him. So we know James Harden can carry the Brooklyn Nets up until Kevin Durant returns, which when Kevin Durant returns, they're going to be a whole different animal. So the Brooklyn Nets will take the number 1 spot in the league. There you have it, the top 10 teams. Number 10, Denver. Number 9, the Portland Trail Blazers. Number 8, the Miami Heat. Number 7, the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 6, Clippers. 5, Jazz. 4, Lakers. 3, Suns. 2, Philadelphia. And number 1, the Brooklyn Nets. So there you go, the top 10 teams in the league right now. Hear ye, hear ye. the NBA awards as of right now. So it's an ongoing debate with the NBA awards all year up until the award is announced. Some years it's more obvious than not on who's going to win. Other years, you're a little bit in between. Recently with MVPs, we've kind of already known game 62 of 82 who's going to be the MVP, because that's all the media talks about. But this year's interesting. I feel like the MVP has changed at least 10 times this year. But I think there are some awards that are undisputable. We can't discuss them. It's obvious that's who it's going to be, and so forth. Anyways, my NBA awards as of right now. Rookie of the Year will go to LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is leading all rookies in rebounds, assists, and I think steals. He is second in scoring for rookies, but he's playing amazing. The Charlotte Hornets look like a totally different team, and they're playing really great basketball. The Charlotte Hornets are a good free agent away from actually competing in the Eastern Conference, because you have the Philadelphia 76ers, you have the Brooklyn Nets, you have the Milwaukee Bucks, you have the Miami Heat, all ahead of them. But I think LaMelo Ball is a great pickup for the Charlotte Hornets, and I think he is the clear-cut favorite for Rookie of the Year. So, LaMelo Ball, Rookie of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. I originally said it was going to be Ben Simmons, but I'm changing my mind, and I'm going to go with LeBron James. LeBron James, defensively rated, is number 3. And he is the only one who's played more games than the two guys ahead of him, which are Spencer Dinwiddie and some guy from Toronto. LeBron James, in my opinion, has the Los Angeles Lakers with the number 2 defense and is playing amazing. Has played just about every single game except for one, and in my opinion, the clear-cut Defensive Player of the Year. And I think he should be earning his second, because he did get robbed in 2013. So LeBron James, finally, there you go, Defensive Player of the Year this year. Coach of the Year, Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder is the coach for the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz currently have the number 1 record in the Western Conference. He has built up a great team with the Utah Jazz. After they lost Gordon Hayward a couple years ago, everyone thought Utah was going to be a really bad team, and they have just risen and risen and risen every year. They've been in the playoffs the last 4 or 5 years, and I think them having the best record is going to give him the Coach of the Year. This is going to bring me to my MVP. My MVP is the exact same as my Defensive Player of the Year, LeBron James. I think LeBron has been phenomenal. I think everything that's been going on, losing Anthony Davis, losing Dennis Schroeder, losing all those players, and still having the second best record in the league, competing with Brooklyn, competing with Philadelphia, competing with Utah. They've been playing great. He has been playing great. And I think last year he was robbed of the MVP, and I think he deserves it this year because of how well he's playing in year 18, and also just because his team has the second best record easily without his second best player. So there you go, my MVP awards. Let's all clap for my MVP, my Coach of the Year, my Defensive Player of the Year, and my Rookie of the Year. Up next, I will give you my NBA first team and my NBA all defensive first team as well. All right, up next is my first team all defense. These players are all ranked top 20 in player defensive stats, and they are pretty great defenders in general. So anyways, going on to my first player is Julius Randle. Julius Randle plays for the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks are ranked 1 or 2 in defensive team efficiency and defensive rating. Julius Randle's been playing great basketball. He's a first-time All-Star this year. He's currently ranked 12 in defensive rating. He's been playing phenomenal basketball. Again, the New York Knicks are number 1 or number 2, depending on which day you want to see it. in defensive rating as a team. So Julius Randle, again, is their star player, is leading that charge in the defensive side. He's been playing great basketball. So Julius Randle will be my first member in the All-NBA defensive first team. Number 2, Mike Conley. He's ranked number 4th in defensive rating as an individual. He's been playing great basketball. He's been healthy this year. And again, when Mike Conley is healthy, he's one of the best point guards in the league. And also known as a better defender than a better offensive player. And he's great on the offensive side as well. Again, Mike Conley plays for the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz have Rudy Gobert, who is also another defensive player, which is also another reason why they have the number 1 record in the league. Mike Conley can lock down your point guard, and he can do a pretty good job at it. So Mike Conley is on my team. Rudy Gobert, he's won Defensive Player of the Year 2 years in a row, like a couple years back. He's currently ranked number 6 in defensive rating. He can block shots. He's a phenomenal rim protector, and he can just swat your shot and send it out of bounds. So Rudy Gobert is a guy that you should not go into the paint with if he's roaming around there. So Rudy Gobert does deserve some NBA first team all defensive votes. Ben Simmons is up next. Ben Simmons is considered a point guard, so he can defend your point guard and do a pretty good job at it. He can defend from positions 1 through 5. Sometimes the Philadelphia 76ers will put him at center, and he does a pretty great job. He's 6'11", so of course he can defend your center because he's probably taller than your center. He also can defend a small point guard. Is pretty movable. He's got LeBron James-like speed with that, and he can keep up with your point guard if he's chasing him around. So Ben Simmons is also another player on that team. And again, the defensive player of the year, in my opinion, LeBron James. He's currently ranked 3rd as an individual in defensive rating. He does have the LA Lakers on number 2 or number 2nd in defensive rating, depending on which day you want to see it. So those 5 guys, in my opinion, should be in the all defensive first team, or at least on the all defensive team in general, 1 or 2. So again, Julius Randle, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons, and LeBron James. That is the All-NBA defensive first team. All right, up next is the All-NBA first team. So this is the best players in the NBA. So just to get into it, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's been playing great basketball as of late. His team is 24-16, I do believe. And they have won 5 in a row. Again, he's a great rebounder, and he can score in the paint at will. He's got freakishly long arms, so he can get wherever he wants in the paint. And Giannis Antetokounmpo has been playing great basketball as of late. Damian Lillard is, I think, in my opinion, top 5 in MVP votings, or at least should be in the top 5 of MVP votings. He currently has the Portland Trail Blazers at 24-16. He's been holding his own without CJ McCollum or Yusuf Nurkic. And I think Damian Lillard is highly underrated. And more people are starting to give him recognition now. But I think he's been underrated for a long time. So Damian Lillard is on my NBA first team. Next is James Harden. James Harden is leading the league in assists. He can score 50 whenever he wants. He can score whenever he wants to. But his role with the Brooklyn Nets is to facilitate. So James Harden has been playing great basketball. I do give him a knock for his first couple of weeks in Houston this year, because that did exist. But I think James Harden, as of late, has been playing great basketball without Kevin Durant. Up next is Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic has had a couple of 40-point games this year and has been playing phenomenal. Without him, the Denver Nuggets are a bottom 5 team in the league. He's been holding it together for the Denver Nuggets. I think he's top 3 in MVP votings because of how he's been playing, how he's kept the Denver Nuggets afloat. So Nikola Jokic is in my NBA first team. And then obviously NBA first team, the MVP in my opinion, LeBron James. Nothing much else to say about that. You guys already know the deal on that. So anyways, my NBA first team is Giannis, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Nikola Jokic, and LeBron James. The NCAA tournament, aka March Madness, started last night, Thursday. It started with MSU versus UCLA. UCLA won the game, a pretty good game, to say the least. It was really, really competitive, and that's basically what you want from March Madness. Anyways, I'm here to give you my 3 dark horse teams and 3 teams that I think ultimately will win. Starting with my dark horse teams, I'm going to go with University of Virginia. They are a number 4 seed. They do play Ohio and then eventually maybe Creighton or the team that beats Creighton. I do think their side of the bracket is a little favorable up until they get to the number 1 seed. I think University of Virginia has a great team. A couple years ago, they were like the best team. Everyone said they were the best team in the world, and they lost in the 2nd or 3rd round. I do think University of Virginia, when they're overlooked, they play a lot better. And they also are 18-6. They have had a pretty good season. They are in the ACC, I do believe, so they are in the conference with Duke and as well as North Carolina. So they are well trained. The next team is Villanova. They are 16-6. Jay Wright is still their coach. They have a pretty good team. They are the 5th seed. I do like their side of the bracket. They do face North Texas. I think that they are a dark horse team because the past couple years, Villanova has played amazing in the NCAA tournament, has made top 8, has made the Elite 8. So I do think Villanova is a dark horse team. The next dark horse team is actually a number 1 seed, which is Michigan. Michigan has been playing well. They are 20-4. They are the number 1 seed, but they do have a tough side of their bracket. They have Texas, they have Georgetown, they have Alabama, and those teams are playing amazing right now. So I think their bracket is their side of the bracket is a little scary, but I think Michigan will prevail and probably be in the Final Four. All right, now the teams that I think are probably going to win it, just because they've been playing amazing this year, and I think they're just good teams. Baylor, they did win their first round matchup. They are 23-2. Gonzaga, they are 26-0. Everyone's predicting them to win. I don't really like undefeated teams heading into the NCAA tournament because the past couple years, they've been upset in the earlier rounds. So I think Gonzaga will probably win it. They've been pretty good. Last year, they were pretty good. They were developing. This year, they're coming out with a punch. And my last team is Illinois, a personal favorite. I like the University of Illinois. They are 24-6. They did win the Big Ten championship. They are a number 1 seed. I do like their side of the bracket. They did win their first game today, and they faced Loyola Chicago. So 2 Illinois teams going at it. But there you go. There is my dark horse and my probably going to win. I know it's a pretty short segment with the NCAA tournament, but this is what I have so far. I'll talk more about it next week once we get deeper into the tournament, but that is what I have so far. My dark horse teams are University of Virginia, Villanova, and Michigan, so watch out for those teams. Do not be surprised if they make it to the Elite 8 or even higher. And my teams that are probably going to win, teams that you shouldn't be surprised if they do make it to the Final Four, Illinois, Gonzaga, and Baylor. Anyways, there you go. That's my NCAA tournament. If you're editing your draft or you're checking your draft, look at those teams. Please pay close attention to those teams. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Keep up with the show by clicking the subscribe button to get the latest from the show. Also, turn on the notifications to know when a new episode is posted. Thank you.